Hi water signs, what's going on? This reading is going to be for all of the water signs. We're going to be doing individual readings for every sign. So we are going to do Cancer first, Scorpio second, and then we will do Pisces last. So yeah, we will be starting with Cancer here for the first reading. Okay, I'm seeing Nine of Cups coming out. I'm also seeing Eight of Pentacles. And we have Seven of Pentacles, and we have the Emperor. Okay. There can be a shift going on when it comes to what you want. You know, like there can be some things that you wanted for a period of time, and something about that. You can have some things that are fading out. You can have other things that are becoming more important to you. It can just be a time where you've been thinking about these things. You know, like there can be some stuff that maybe you wanted for a while and you're like, I don't know if I really want that anymore. And there can be other things popping up. I mean, for some of you guys, this can be a process specifically related to these were things that I wanted or that I thought that I wanted. Now I'm not so sure about that. And then where does that leave me? So this can be something that you're thinking about overall, where maybe what you want now hasn't clarified itself, but you are aware of like some fading that's happening that's associated with what you did think you wanted. So yeah, you can be going through a period where I think it's easier when we get to a point when we feel like I don't want this anymore, but then we do know what we want. It can be easier to make that transition. But when you're in a space where you're like, I don't think that I want this anymore, but then what do I want? I think that can feel a little bit more unsettling, because we can sometimes feel like we've lost our sense of direction a little bit. So that can be something that you're feeling right now. Like maybe the love or the desire for something has been fading. And you're like, where does that leave me? And you can be left in the process of what's already been done. But you can be thinking about what your next move is going to be, but not feeling sure about that. Because I think with that Nine of Cups reversed, it can be something that you put a lot of your energy or your focus into, or you pinned a lot of things to that. And now that this is fading, you can be at a point where you're like, where does that leave me? And where do I go from here? And I'm just, it feels like sitting and being in a pile of like all of this stuff, feeling a little bit directionless. Like I'm even seeing you, like these investments that you have, I'm seeing, or this particular thing that you have, I'm seeing you like falling asleep participating in it anymore, where that feeling of you being like awake and really involved and feeling vibrant as you're connected with this, that feeling, it can be like, I don't want to be putting my energy into this anymore in this way. I feel like my energy, like something else is pulling. But it feels almost like when you're in a room and there's a draft of that cold breeze, it's kind of like the reverse of that, where something about your energy is being like pulled out of the building or out of the room that you've been in with this, and you're like, where is that going? But you're still kind of confined within those walls. So you feel your energy starting to be pulled somewhere, but you don't know yet. It's like you can't see through that wall. You don't know where this is pulling you, but you feel that happening. So there's a draft that's happening with your energy where it's being pulled. And I don't think it's surprising, because it's like, it's got to go somewhere. Like there's got to be something. There's got to be something else even that you're connecting with. And whatever this is, it feels like that feeling isn't really there anymore. I see a lack of feeling with the Nine of Cups reverse, Eight of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles. Again, with this Seven of Pentacles, it feels like you could be here participating, but you're like falling asleep doing it. And maybe that's becoming a sign to you. Like maybe you feel like you're even falling asleep within your life in some way. And you're like, this is fading out and it's fading quickly. Like what's happening next? Because you know, like life goes on, something is going to be happening next, but you can be in a place of contemplation right now where you're not really sure. You can not feel as charged as you normally would either. Like maybe something's going on with that where you feel just like a lack of feeling, which can then feel like a lack of direction as well. Yeah, I see something that you wanted and it feels like you don't want it anymore. Or like that desire is just fading away now. Some of you guys, this can be a relationship, but it can be something else too. You know, it can be like, I thought that I wanted this, or like I did, but I don't anymore. And now where am I going and what am I doing? It can feel good to you when you have somewhere to put your energy, but you want it to be meaningful, and this can feel like it lacks meaning, especially because it's like you're a water sign. Like, we're talking about Cancer here. Cancer is the primary water sign. You know, like, you need to feel connected with what you're doing. When that love and that connection isn't there, it's like, what do you even have? It just feels like if you don't feel love or connection or inspiration or like a depth or like that like spiritual connection with something, it's like, what's even the point of that then? And I see something that's not really feeling like that for you. So you can be saying, like, why would I keep doing that? What would be the point in continuing to invest in something? But I do want to invest somewhere. But now can be a question of where that's going to be, because you don't want to be doing something that's boring to you, or you're falling asleep with this. And it can be somewhere where you're like, I crave to have that sense of connection. I need to find like the next place where I want to put that. So maybe also too, you're getting to the point where you're taking all of this in, that this is something that's going on. And I think what you can be realizing is that there may be something new that's developing that's going to be like your new happiness, your new joy, your new pursuit of happiness. Because whatever this is, it feels like it's not that anymore. And it can be something that you're figuring out, then what is it? And I think you're even getting into a position where you're realizing this is going to be about you, and it's going to be about your choice, and you need to be connected enough with yourself in order to discern what this is going to be for you. So now can be about tuning in and getting connected with yourself, so you feel a strong sense of direction, like a very strong breeze that's going to be blowing you forward. And right now you can be starting to feel a little bit of that, but you can be like, I want to feel more of that before I decide to make a move here. You can really be wanting love and connection and a sense of community, or just like meaningful dynamics as well. That can be something that you're craving. You know, maybe you even have some dreams about your future that you can be thinking a lot about and wanting to invest in those things. But I see this would be stuff that has an inner meaning for you. So it can be untapped desires, something like that. I see these when you tune into your heart. There can be things that you really want to experience that there's going to need to be a transition made so that can happen, because there can be dreams that you have that you want to realize. You want to manifest these things. And now can be a time when there's some stuff that's coming front and center, while also there's some other stuff that for whatever period of time there was something, or there were other things that you wanted, that you were like, these are the things that I'm going to feel happy with, that now something is shifting. So basically your pursuit of happiness, what it was before, it's shifting into something else now. So there's an adapting that has to happen. Otherwise you're going to feel spiritually like you're off track. So something has changed, and this feels like it's about adapting to the change, because you don't want to be falling asleep again while you're participating in things, because that's not really what you're looking for. That's not really what you're wanting. But as far as what you've been doing, it may just not be the vibe for you anymore. I see somewhere where it's like yeah, you're showing up, you're doing the thing, but having Five of Cups be connected to it, it's like you're not really getting what you want and you need from it. And now you're in a place of like turmoil emotionally because of it. If you're not seeing it as being turmoil, it can just feel like unfulfilled. Where this is, you can feel conflict emotionally. And you can feel even like, some of you guys, this situation that you're in is not what you thought it was going to be. So that can be something. Yeah, it could have been like, I thought that I was going to feel happy with this. I'm not really feeling like that. Some of you guys can even be feeling like this was kind of a waste of your time. That can also be something too. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like maybe you can be feeling that a little bit. And yeah, you can be looking at things and you can be evaluating on the emotional front what you have going on and be like, why would I participate in something that I feel like I'm falling asleep on the job with this? And realizing that your pursuit of happiness is in a different direction. But yeah, some of you guys are like, why did I put all of this work into this? Or like, why did I invest like so much of my like heart and my emotion and my time into this? So it can be something that you're sort of coming to terms with, because I'm seeing like so much investing that you put into something and it's like, I don't think that feels worth it to you. And you can feel sad about that. Like, you know, when you put energy into something thinking that it's the right decision to be making, and it feels like you're at a point where you're like, I don't think that it was the right decision for me to do that. This can be helpful understanding what was motivating you before, because you probably did not, I'm just going to put it out there and say it, there was probably not the purest intention for doing it, you know? Maybe you were motivated by fear. Maybe you were motivated by lack of some sort. Maybe you were motivated by anxiety. Maybe you were motivated by conformity. Maybe you were motivated because other people told you that was the right thing to be doing, or that was what was going to make you happy, or that's what you should be doing. So you can be at the point where you're basically like yielding the results of whatever inspired you to be participating in this. And it can be something that you feel unhappy with. The beauty of that is that by understanding when this is what inspires me and these are the results I get, I'm learning not to do that anymore. Because it always ends like this, and I don't want things to end like this. I want the end result to be something that I love. I want this to yield something amazing that I feel really connected with, and I see such a lack of connection here. So it can be a whole time where you're like, what am I doing with my life? What's really going on here? Because you don't want to just be wasting away. Like on the bottom of the deck, we have this. It's just like in such a slump. But I think this slump is really important because it's leading you to clarity and pattern recognition that needs to happen. And I think this is the beginning of you getting back in touch. Because you could have been making I'm getting such a strong deja vu right now. You could have been making decisions before that lacked a sense of direction, where you were not being so deliberate, and now can be a time when you're getting back in touch again and you're like, I got to take control of my situation. There are things that I need to do here. Because you can feel very fulfilled and you can feel very happy with things, but you're going to have to make choices that support that and lean in that direction. And so that means that now that you're realizing something has faded, as short or long lasting as it was, you don't want this anymore. So what do you want? But I think that actually your challenge here is to accept that you like actually don't want this anymore and to let it go. Because you can be fighting that because you're like, well, I invested all of this time and energy. Like, I want to try to like force myself to like it again or try to like bring it back to life. And it's all just because of not wanting to accept what's really going on here. When you accept that this was the choice that was made and it benefited you to do that because it showed you something really important about the connection between what's inspiring your choices and what that ends up manifesting, you learn something very, very important. You needed this experience. You unconsciously manifested this experience because you needed to learn what you have learned from it. So let that be the lesson and let yourself continue, because if you keep choosing to support this within your life, that's when it becomes a conscious decision to be investing in something that you feel this way about. And that would be really the tragedy of this. It's not the choices that were made up to this point, because this helped you realize what you needed to realize. Now that it has been realized, you can make a different choice moving forward. And one that's going to be much better suited for you, one that you're really going to like the results of. And then just like that, you'll feel happy with things. You'll feel satisfied. You'll feel fulfilled. So this can be choices that you made when you weren't as in touch as you are now. Now that it seems like you're getting much more in touch. Even if you're getting in touch to feel something that doesn't feel good, it's like maybe things need to go so wayward that it was like, okay, I got to check in right now. Now that you're checking in, you can be like, I'm off track here. I need to make these corrections. And you see it's up to you. I'm seeing strong Aries here in the reading. So really the thing is here to be present to the way that you're feeling and accept that you don't feel the connection with something anymore. That desire has faded. Allow yourself to be honest about that. Then to understand that you get to choose where you invest your energy. That's up to you, and that you don't have to keep putting it into this. Then thinking to yourself, well, if not here, then where? Where do I want to be putting that? And then I think coming to terms with all of this, because the sadness can really be coming from a place where you were like, I made these choices because I wasn't trusting myself. I wasn't listening to how I really felt. I was out of tune. And there can be mourning when we do it, because it's like, why did I abandon myself? Why didn't I make those choices that were the better choices for me to be making? You know, why did I do it for this, for that? And there can be pain within that, but you're really like reconciling with yourself here. You're reconciling with yourself, you're reconciling with your life, with your sense of direction, with your purpose, with where you're going, with what you're doing. And I think allowing yourself to purge all of this, to put it in the like cosmic garbage disposal and say, I can start new from this point, and it can be something that I love and something that I want and something that I choose and I decide. I get that part being really important here. But yeah, some of you guys, I do feel strongly like you could have made some huge life decisions and be looking at it now and be like, I regret that, or like I shouldn't have done that. But it's like you were doing the best that you could with what you knew at that point. Otherwise you would have done things differently. Now you can do things differently, and you can start from here. It's never too late to start over. You can start from right here and make different choices. But there's that needing to come to terms to allow yourself to be fully present to this moment right here. To accept what has been done and what has been chosen and what has resulted of that. To see where you're standing right now and allow yourself to move forward with a clean slate and know that you really can have that. But yeah, some of you guys, you're going to go through like a major purging, because you can be looking at like a lot of this stuff that was built and you were like, I don't want any of it. I see it just like putting everything in a cosmic garbage disposal, just like crunching it all down, like throwing it back into the void. So you have that blank canvas, and then figuring out what do you want to do from there. And I'm seeing just like the faintest pool of the energy where something's going on. There is something happening. There's like a calling of sorts, but there's a need to face this stuff emotionally to get more in touch with that, which just is your nature to be. So this stuff is meant to be released now so things can move forward. And it's really like, that's how quick that things can change over. Where you do that, you release this. It's kind of like this huge recipe that you've been making, and you're like, I go to taste it and it just tastes wrong, and it doesn't matter what you add from it or what you try to subtract from it. It's just like the recipe is all wrong. And you can look at it and you can throw out the whole thing, just start with a whole new recipe. But you're going to have to dump the whole thing back in, is what it seems like. Like, I don't want to make this anymore, is what this seems like. And you don't have to. And some of you guys, the reason you can be feeling miserable or something like that is because you can be trying to force yourself to still like work with this recipe that you don't want to be working with anymore. Throw the whole thing away. Start new. That's what the advice is here for this. And if there's this part of you that's like, I can't throw it away for some reason, ask yourself what's motivating that. What is inspiring that? Because it's not going to be empowerment. It will be something fear related. Because what your soul wants is to dump all of this out. All right, we are going to leave the reading here and we are going to shift over to Scorpio. Thank you everybody for tuning in and connecting. All right, Scorpio, we are here with your reading. Let me write down the time. Okay, we are starting off with a 10 of Swords. I'm also seeing a 9 of Pentacles reversing. Okay. This looks like you're going through something that can have you feeling weak right now. You went through something, it may have weakened you energetically, meaning you're going to need some recovery time. It's like a really bad storm hit, and it's going to take some time to recover from that. You can do this though. It's basically like this thing happened, okay? It's like you have a garden that's outside and a tornado hit and it ripped a bunch of stuff up and everything is like all mangled and it's all over the place. All the crops are kind of like all over, you know, but the energy that you're coming out in is that you look at this and you're like, okay, this stuff happens. I'm going to have to go in there and I'm going to have to do some like yard work now, some garden work, and I'm going to have to fix all of this up. But I'm seeing you be in the perfect energy, like you are perfectly capable of doing this. So even though this thing happened and it may feel like there's a disturbance, and so you're going to need to come through and it calls you to action in order to fix this. If anybody is the energy to do that, it's going to be the King of Wands. So you'll look at this and you just, all you have to do is just put in effort and you'll get everything back to where it needs to be. But yeah, it can feel unfortunate that this was something that happened. But it's like, it's outside that thing that happens sometimes, you know. things are vulnerable. So whatever this was, it was vulnerable to some type of circumstance that unfolded. And now what can you do? What are you left to do other than to pick up the pieces? So now you're just picking up the pieces. I'm trying to tune into this. Okay, some of you guys, you know how to pick up the pieces of this, and you need to be self-reliant with this, because I feel like there can be somebody or something else that you can check in with, but that you don't need that. You know, it can be going to another person and having a conversation about this process because you feel like you can't do it, when this is not even a good source to be connecting with, is the way that this seems if this is somebody outside of yourself. It's kind of like going to somebody, you know how to do something, or you know how to do something, how you want to do something very sufficiently. You don't need external advice about this. Devil and Page of Swords can be like somebody that you go to and you're like, what would you do? How would you do this? And it's like, you don't need that. And if anything, it may actually mess up your own process here. So it can be something that you're checking in with where it's like, I wouldn't be getting feedback from that. Like, that's going to put you in a bad feedback loop. It will be something like if you have to build a bridge, right? You have the experience and the know-how and the vision for building a bridge, and you also understand the engineering of it. Are you gonna go to a 2-year-old and ask them how to build a bridge? I feel like you're going looking to something that is not gonna give you good information about this. This is like something that you can do, but maybe there's a part of you that looks for that validation, but you don't need it. And I'm seeing it, it's not one of those times where it's like, don't discuss what you're doing. It's like, if this didn't have the devil attached to it, you could bounce ideas off of it, but it seems like somewhere where it's actually going to foil what you have going on. You know, even what this is reminding me of, it's like something that you can do independently on your own, but you can go to, it's like you go on social media and you ask a bunch of people that have no expertise in that, and you just get some pop opinion about it. And it's like, that's what you're going to base this off of. And it's not that type of situation. This is a type of situation where that is not going to be a good idea. I feel like it's going to misdirect you in some way. This feels like you have all the knowledge and expertise here already. You don't need whatever this is. Some of you guys, you can even be, this can be like something that you're paying for. It can be a course that you're paying for or something, when it's like you already know how to do this or you can figure it out. You don't need whatever that is. Or you can be looking to somebody that may, with the devil and the Page of Swords, it can be somebody that is like, here, this is what you want to do, and it's like they're giving you really bad advice here. I wouldn't listen to that if I were you. But it can be maybe a source that speaks as if it knows. You have to check in with your inner authority on this for sure. It can maybe be something else. I want to pull more cards and see how else this can manifest, but I kind of see that it's like, why would that be what you give your energy to? It just seems like not a good exchange. It reminds me of the notion of if you're getting advice from somebody, it's probably a better idea to get advice from somebody that you maybe like respect the choices that they make and you like how their life looks, versus taking advice from somebody where you're like, I wouldn't want my life to look like that. It's like, why would you take advice from that person then? You know, like this type of thing. Or somebody that you see is maybe like really in the matrix or something like that, and are involving them in your process, and it's like I can see the disconnect, or I can see something that's going on, or like the dysfunction with that, and it's like, why would you involve that in your process then? I feel like there's just a need for discernment here with this, because this seems like something that you would, this thing doesn't have access to you unless you're actively like onboarding it onto your process. So why would you involve that? And it can be something where with the devil, maybe something is appealing to you, being like, you need this, but it's like with the devil, you don't need whatever that is. But it can be like, yeah, you need this in order to do that. And it's like, no, you actually don't. But you have to check in with yourself, because this is something that can have you believing like something that you're perfectly capable of doing. It's gonna convince you that you're not perfectly capable of doing it, and you need to like outsource, like you need to depend on this thing. It's like, you don't need that actually. This energy, I'm telling you, this is so weird. It's something like you're perfectly capable of chewing your food before you swallow it. And it's like, no, let me chew your food for you, because you don't know how to chew it properly. And it's like, you actually know how to do this. You don't need whatever this is. But then it's having you feel like you're not going to chew it properly, and then you're going to choke on it. It's something like that, where it's like, that's not actually true. But whatever this is, there's just like a need to fact check whatever this is. Because this is something that can really mess with you mentally too. Devil and Page of Swords also can be like a fear of learning, something like that. Or it can be obsessing over something that's not helping with the process anymore. Yeah, no, the way that this feels to me is that something that distracts you mentally that does not need to be involved in this process. Okay, so it's like this. You're on a ship, okay? You are taking the ship somewhere that you have not taken it. So there's that element of the unknown, but you have something coming through that is like, you know how to use the compass. That's all you need to know how to do the boat. So even though you're going somewhere that you haven't gone before, you already have all those tools that you need to know how to handle this. Whatever this thing is, I feel like it's trying to tell you where to go or what to do. When you already know how to use the tools, you don't need this. Okay, who do we have here? Pisces, Capricorn, Virgo. Okay, so this tornado happened whatever it was, it's something that happened. It could have really turned on the pressure. Now this is bringing you into somewhere that you are going to be going. You are capable of venturing into this new space that you're going to be going into. You can have some fear attempting to dictate what you're doing here. Or something that you're giving authority to unnecessarily that is making things feel much more strenuous and difficult than they actually are. This can even be something that's having you feel like you don't know what you're doing. When I'm seeing you be perfectly capable, it's like whatever this thing is, you have to swim into the deep end, and I'm seeing this thing be like, oh, don't go into the deep end, you can't swim, and it's like you're perfectly capable of swimming in the deep end. I feel like this has you insecure, has you questioning yourself. It has you feeling, because it's like you haven't gone into the deep end of this particular pool, but you already know how to swim, and that's all you need to go into the deep end. It's not, I'm telling you, it's not going to be an issue for you. Whatever this is that you're doing, even though technically you haven't done it before, it's not going to be an issue for you. You are like the most absolutely capable you could be to do this. Like you are the most capable person. This is not a question of ability or skill set or preparedness. I'm seeing you be like 100%, like anything that you need to do this sufficiently and even with excellence, I'm seeing you have that already. Whatever this thing is, it's instilling some doubt in you for some reason. And then it's making you be like, I'm going to get there and I'm not going to know what I'm doing. It's like infusing you with some insecurity. You don't need to be insecure about this. Like you don't need to be worried about this. You just need to, you got the green light, it's time to go. But this thing is like telling you, no, it's a red light, don't go. But I'm not seeing that be the case with this. So whatever this is, you need to stop giving it your attention, because I'm seeing it be like feeding into something that's not helpful to you. And it's like even making you scared to go forward, where you're like, you know, like I had a feeling that I was supposed to go into the deep end, and it's like, yes, your intuition was leading you into the deep end. That's where you're supposed to be going. And it's like, now this thing is telling me not to go in there. And it's like, no, don't listen to that. Like whatever this is, you're not meant to listen to it. It's like, I don't know what form this is coming to you from, but it is not something that's knowledgeable on whatever this is for you. And it's having you not trust yourself and think you need to trust in something that's not you. It's like my intuition told me this and I got a yes about it, but now I'm hearing from this other person, no, so I think I should. And it's like, don't give it that much power. Like, why are you thinking that like why are you thinking that anything is going to be able to give you better advice than you would give to yourself? Like, who knows you better than you? Why would you think that anything is more valid than your own intuition on something? Than your own feeling of what is right for you? But this energy, the way that it benefits you, that it's coming up, is that you no longer entertain whatever this is externally. You know what you know within you. And so it's meant to strengthen that inner knowledge that you have and to not entertain whatever this is. Because it's something that will control what you're doing, but it's out of touch. And again, I want to say this. You can get feelings about something and you can go to like other things for advice or for expertise, and you'll know that it aligns when it resonates with you. So there's nothing wrong with getting advice or having a conversation about it or like looking up information or like using external sources. But you have to make sure it resonates with you. This is something that it doesn't resonate with you, but for some reason it's like, I should listen to that then. And it's like, if it doesn't resonate with you, why are you listening to that? It doesn't make sense. It makes things more difficult for you. And then it has you feeling for some reason like you can't do this. And it's not aligned with you. It's like, not in coherence. It's not in resonance with you. So don't connect to it and give it that power. So it's helping you with your discernment here and about what you're giving power to and what you're giving authority to here with this. And that doesn't mean, like, whatever the devil is, like, for those of you, let's say, like, it's advice that you're getting from another person, it doesn't mean inherently that the thing is, like, not well-meaning. You know, it can be well-meaning, but there's such a thing as well-meaning bad advice. This feels like it's giving you bad advice, whatever it is, but it's bad because it doesn't resonate with you, like it doesn't align with you and it doesn't align with your intuition, so don't listen to it. That's literally it. Or like you could choose to and then make decisions aligned with that and then not get good results from this because you're listening to something that's out of alignment. So this will be something out of touch, whatever it is, that does not apply in resonance to your circumstance, that you are not meant to be taking this on. It's like, this is the type of advice that's telling you, like, make sure that you bring an umbrella. And it's like, you're in the middle of a desert. You don't need that. Like, why are you listening to that? Like, it's about using your intuition. Like, also use your common sense with this thing. Why are you going to do that? It's not applicable to your situation. But then it can be like, oh, you know, you should really be prepared and make sure that you have that umbrella. You're really going to need it. Like scaring you into submission here when it's like, you don't need it. Like you're in the desert. It doesn't rain in the desert. You're not going to need that. But then it has you feeling scared, like, oh, for some reason, like I'm giving this more authority than like my common sense and my intuition here. So I feel like I should pack it. And it's like, you need to figure this out. This is something that needs to be worked out. But yeah, it's something like that that's going on here with this. And it's going to be like, the basis of this will be something out of touch and it's going to be connected with fear in some way. And it's like you don't even want to bring the umbrella, but now this is making you feel like you need the umbrella when you don't even want it. And like, pay attention to that. Why don't you want to bring the umbrella? Because you know that you don't need the umbrella. So why are you giving this thing, like allowing this thing to have influence over you? For some of you guys, this is about telling you to stay in some situation that you don't want to stay in anymore. It doesn't have to be that, but for some of you guys, that is the situation. And it can be fear that's communicating with you. You need to like stay in whatever that is, when your intuition is telling you otherwise. There is a move that needs to be made here. And this thing will fight to keep you like oppressed in some way. And there is a need to see that. There is a need to recognize that. But this can be something where you're still in the process of developing your discernment. But the hints that you'll get about this is that when you're told about the umbrella, immediately it'll feel resistance because it's not resonating with you. You need to pay attention to that. Because if you're used to submitting and conforming, this is helping you step into more of your like station of independence and inner authority and autonomy. This is something that will actively go against that. And it will be something that it makes you feel scared instead of curious. Where, you know, the energy over here in the last part of the spread, there can be something that you want to explore. And this is like, oh, be careful of that. You know, like you don't want to go doing that because then this will happen. And it's like killing your curiosity here. When this would actually be a great thing for you and your spirit is leading you in that direction. It will be something like this that will like limit you and block you off and keep you stuck and feeling scared. Like I can't move out of that. So it'll just have you feeling very like squished. It's It's like it compresses you within the energy, whatever that is. And that's not spirit, that's fear. It's not your intuition, it's fear. And it for some reason has you feeling like ill prepared for something that you're fine to go and do. And making this seem like so much more stressful. It's like you want to try a new lollipop flavor and you're getting some cautionary tale when it's like, try the new lollipop flavor. Like, it's not a big deal. Even though you're still working through it, I feel like this is associated with something that may have already happened that can be impacting you now, where you have to get out from underneath the oppressive thumb of whatever this is. That's like still controlling you mentally. So this is like, it feels like some like mind control that's connected with fear, but only because it connects with your own like paranoia and stuff. Like this comes from a very uncentered place. So it's just something that has to be worked through in order for that to happen. Pisces, Virgo, Capricorn that I'm seeing here. All right, we are going to leave the reading here and we are going to hop into the Pisces reading. Thank you everybody for tuning in and connecting. Yeah, whatever this thing is, it will be hijacking your intuition, essentially. Not allowing you to see or hear things clearly or feel things clearly. It's like a jammer with the signal. All right, hi Pisces. I hope that you're all doing well. I'm using the Fountain Tarot for this reading. I was planning to anyway. We're actually going to use a different deck. Going to use the Wild Unknown. Okay, Pisces, I'm seeing a big ending. This feels very formal. I'm hearing I'm done with that. Seeing something you're just completely over now at this point, and it can be something where there's just a full acceptance of this at this point. I don't feel like you're fighting it anymore. Like, you know that this is over for you, 100%. Like, it would feel so wrong to stay in whatever this is. Like, you know, no doubt at all that this is done. This feels like the final step. Now that you're releasing this, I think that it's going to clarify something important about where you are headed. Because when you were still holding on to this, it could have been not allowing you to see clearly like what's going to be happening moving forward. But now that you're like 100% letting this go, like you're not resisting it anymore, you're letting it fade into the like cosmos and go back to where it needs to go. Now that that's happening, is not blocking you from seeing anymore. So there can be like a bigger picture that is materializing now that's easier to see. It's like not fighting the change anymore, letting it happen and being accepting of that, really. You can also be thinking about your future now too, in a way where when you were still clinging to this, it may have been taking up so much of your energy that you weren't thinking about anything moving forward because you're still like holding on to the past. But now that you're releasing this, you can be thinking about like your future and what's going to be happening moving forward. Like that can be really what you're focusing on now. And it leaves you somewhere in between the two of these things. Okay. This looks like you're starting to put some energy into what you're building, what you're going to be building. There can be a lot of visualizing that's happening, kind of planning the steps too. This can also be connected with your emotional future as well, even though I'm seeing there be a practical side to this. Also, when something very big is coming to an end, it can help to think about like, what do I want after this, like in the aftermath. That less so has to do with this thing closing out and more so about what do I want the next part of my journey to be about. I'm seeing that's really going to help you make this adjustment, because I'm seeing past and I'm seeing future, but I'm not seeing present. So I'm not really seeing where you are within all this. It's like you're somewhere in the in-between. And it seems like it's going to help you transition to think about, where do I want to be going? What do I want that to be looking like? So you can start making a footprint within this. Yeah, it's the notion of when a cycle closes out and you're like, now there's all that empty space here. This about thinking like, what am I going to put in that empty space? What's going to go there? This can be like a long-term commitment or something that you were involved with for a while. It can be a contract, it can be a commitment, it can be a union of some sort. It can be a community. It's going to be something where there was like a structure and there was involvement, whether this be a marriage or it be having to do with schooling, or it was a job that you were in, or it was again like contract, commitment, something like that you were involved in, a community that you were involved in, a class that you were in, a movie that you were working on. Whatever this was, I'm seeing it be finished. I'm seeing Scorpio, Taurus, and Aries here. So you're looking for meaning moving forward. I think this is also freeing you up so that you can be committed in your next direction. And so you can be fully present to that. Because if you have something else that's yanking on your energy, you don't even want your energy to be going into that anymore. This is about closing that door, finally. I'm seeing a bridge being burnt completely. Like never going back there ever again. 100% over. So now it's like well, what am I doing? This can be like my 3-year plan, my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan. I see something like that where you can be thinking about not just right now, but like right now and then next year and then next year and then next year. There's something about thinking like kind of far out. So even though you're at the very, it's like you're at the pre-beginning. I don't even think you're at the beginning yet. I think you're almost at the beginning, but you're in like the last part of the ending of that old cycle, on the verge of stepping into the next chapter. But I'm seeing this be monumental within your life. Like this feels like something so huge, like a whole era of your life that's coming to an end. You're in the last of the last. Like if there are 100 steps to it, you're at like 99 and a half. Like you're almost there at 100. And then it will start over into the new cycle. So that's where you are. You're like right there on the edge of this finally being over, like once and for all. But you're not yet in the next cycle yet. So that's why I'm saying I'm seeing you be in this, like, where are you? You're somewhere in the in-between. It's like you're not technically in the next chapter yet. You're still kind of in the last chapter, but you're not fully in like either of them. You're kind of in the in-between. But I'd say you're closer to the end of the end than you are to the beginning of the beginning. But it's like 100% that's happening now. So it's just like a matter of time before this is closed out. It's like the bridge is on the way to being burnt right now, okay? It's like halfway burnt. You know it's not going to come back. You're just waiting for the rest of it to burn up, okay? It can be something, for some of you guys, you could be like leaving a job where it's like, you put in your 2 weeks a week ago. You just have like one more week to finish out. So technically it's like still happening, but you know, it's like the end of the end. It's something like that. And because you know that this is happening, so this even feels like this was my choice that this is happening, or like I'm not fighting the energy. I know that it's time for this to be happening. Because the bridge is not, there's still a process that's taking place. Let's just go with the example of it. You put your 2 weeks in and you have 1 week left. Because you have that 1 week left, it feels like there's simultaneously a preparation happening for what's going to happen at the end of this next week. So you're not technically in that next week yet, but I'm seeing a visualization and a preparing for that. So you can kind of be getting your ducks in a row so that when this week is over and this whole process is over and you have nothing to do with it anymore, you immediately have something that you're doing and you're not like still in some transitionary space. So there can be something about like, this is going to be like a back-to-back thing that's happening, where this ends and immediately the new cycle begins. And in order to ensure that, it seems like there's a preparation that's happening right now as you're finishing this out, but you may not have to participate so much. It's just like paperwork that has to be done. And then when this new cycle officially starts, it's like you're back in business first day. You already know what's going on because you already have been prepared. And this feels like really just a whole new thing that you're going to be doing, a whole new vibe. I think this feels better for you in so many more ways. Like, this is something where I feel like there's a lot of hope within this because this feels right to you. And there's no denying that. So whatever this is that's closing out can feel like it belongs to some old period of your life that you no longer feel in resonance with. And this new chapter that's getting started, which I'm seeing this be something very major. This doesn't feel like a little chapter ends and a little new chapter begins, but it's all within the same book. This is like a huge, like one era to the next that's happening. I feel like there's a lot of support around you too. Like this can be like a lot of people or energies or something that's supportive of you making this transition and like leaving this behind entirely. I also see this notion of you still kind of getting your sea legs, and because of that, it can be really helpful that you have this support too. Because since you're transitioning from one thing to the next, it's nice. I feel like you're being welcomed with open arms into what you're transitioning into. Where before, whatever that was, it seems kind of like cold and dark, whatever you're leaving behind. What you're stepping into now, it feels like there's a warmth to it. And it feels like this is where I belong. I see just a feeling of this feels very, very right to me, that this is what I'm doing. And there can be stuff about shedding old identities and aspects of the ego associated with what you were doing before and who you were when you were doing that, and what mattered to you, even what you believed in, what was important to you. Support is going to be really important as you go through this, because even though you know that this is the right choice for you to be making, you can be in a little bit of a slump right now. So this is a time when I know that I'm making the right choice. I know that this is the right choice for me, 100% without a doubt, and that is a feeling that I have within me. But maybe you struggle with transitions. Maybe there's some sadness. Maybe there's some, I'm still purging this and I'm still letting go. I'm still in the process of accepting. Self-care is really important. You're going to need it. Some of you guys, you can be like maybe feeling a little bit depressed. Maybe you're having mood swings. Maybe you're more lethargic. Maybe you're having a hard time regulating. There's something going on. I feel like this is more like mental and emotional health type stuff and wellness, where you need to take extra care of yourself, because this can feel rough on you internally, what's going on. So even though you know that this is right, and there's an underlying piece about this, on the more transient front, you can be struggling a little bit with this, but it feels very normal for you and what your norm is. Maybe when you're going through this, you feel more impacted emotionally, mentally. Change is happening, growing, time of transition. This is definitely the right move for you to be making. I wonder for some of you guys if there's this part of you that's like, I wish that I could go back, but you know there's nothing for you there. But maybe there's a little bit of that feeling there. But I think that that comes from being like, I'm embracing this whole new era of things. So I think a part of you can be craving the stability and comfort of something that you knew, even though you know there's nothing for you there anymore. But there can be a part of you that's like, you liked the maybe regularity of that, or like the routine of that, or the community of that. There's something there that I feel like was very nice to have, but you're gonna build like a new version of those things in where you're going to next. But yeah, maybe there's a part of you that's still kind of feeling like that, and you may just need extra support right now. So lean on what you have and be gentle with yourself and be understanding and compassionate with yourself, because it's going to be really helpful. Because yeah, it can be just like a little bit of a hard time right now, and it's okay. I think it becomes not okay when it's like, I just need to tough it out and pretend I'm not having all these feelings. And it's like, you are having all of these feelings, and it's okay that you're having all of these feelings. This is still the right move for you to be making. And it doesn't always feel 100%, but this is the right move for you to be making, and you know that. And so yeah, you can know that, and you can still have mixed feelings about things too. It's normal. It's just an adjustment period that's happening. Some of you guys are going to be around like new people and new situations, and that's something that's going to be different for you. I see the beginning of something very promising here that's happening, and this is going to be a new wave that you're participating in, something new that you're doing with your life. Calling, direction. This can also be something where you just point blank maybe feel uncomfortable with change. It's like, I like my comfy routine and you don't really have that here. That can be throwing you off. Like, there's not really a norm yet. You're going to develop the norm, but you can be missing the blanket of whatever that was, even though you know that you don't belong there anymore. But maybe that's also something too, where you're like, I feel a lack of belonging. I feel this strongly, like a lack of belonging, a lack of community, a lack of a sense of like family or something like that. But you're going to develop that in the next part, but you cannot have that already set up. So there can be a part of you that's like, I'm missing that, which is normal. Just normalize all of the things that you're feeling. It's going to make it much easier, because when you're being present to what you're feeling and you're not denying it, then you can be like, okay, what can I do for myself right now? And it's going to make it easier for you to make this transition. I'm seeing Libra and I'm seeing Scorpio, Aries, and Taurus. You're going to find that there will be people that will be very willing to help you out. That will be something that you find. I think this is going to be more community-based or community-oriented than what was going on before. Like, I see people willing to help. But I do see like new networking and new friendships and like new interpersonal stuff that's going to be happening. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in and connecting. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.